Good Vibe Astrology.
Welcome, everyone. We've got a super, I think, fun and powerful topic tonight, so very happy to be diving into this material. How are you today, Kim?
Very well. When we were talking last week about where to take this and the whole idea of self-love was just, it really got me excited, mainly because the most potent element of deliberate creation begins with self-love. And it's just something we can always come back to. And, of course, astrologically, it has some very powerful indicators, basically our moon, which shows us our natural approach to how we give and receive love and nurturing. And that means how we nurture ourselves or neglect to nurture ourselves.
Kim, that was already a big aha for me because I often looked to Venus for love. So when we started talking moon, it was really big insights for me already.
I'm glad you brought that up because most people do think, oh, Venus is that's the goddess of love with sexual energy and attraction. But when it comes to nurturing, how we give and receive that sustaining, loving, nurturing, and our primary connection to love, which is our very first relationship, which is with Mother, regardless of what happens, moments after you're born, your very first relationship is with Mother, and that's the moon. So we go there first. That is our primal connection to love and nurturing. So that's where we're going today. Okay, so let's begin. Well, first thing we need to do, Jeannette, is get a really good base understanding of what self-love is and why it's important. I know most of us are probably up to speed on this, but I know for one, I could never review this too much.
Oh, my gosh. I think that is so true for all of us that no matter where we're at with this particular subject, I think most of us have room for improvement. So I think this is worthy of our focus no matter our experience level with it. But for those who may be new to the concept of self-love, let's just lay out some basics. What we're talking about here is how you treat yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you think about yourself. It's your level of self-appreciation or acknowledgement. You could maybe call it self-esteem, maybe even self-care certainly can be part of self-love. But really what we're talking about is how do you feel about yourself? And that is something that you express in both thought and action. So the reason that it matters is because how we feel about ourselves, that's a really powerful vibration, that how we are thinking and feeling, that's a state of being. So if I am feeling like, even trying to find the words for the concepts that I'm entertaining are escaping me because I don't practice these thoughts very often. I practice the opposite thoughts about how fabulous and amazing and wonderful and worthy I am. But if I were having thoughts and feelings like that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't pretty enough, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't up to par with others' expectations, or there are all sorts of ways where we can sell ourselves short. Imagine what you're flowing vibrationally when you're engaging those thoughts. Like if you can feel the energy of someone who is not being good to themselves, that vibration is not one that's going to attract good things because like attracts like. So when I am minimizing myself or making myself wrong or blaming or feeling guilty or whatever, those negative vibrations are blocking many of the positive things that I'm calling forth in my life. And I might not even realize I'm doing that based on how I feel about myself. Kim's got a quote in the notes that says, "Universe can only be as good to you as you are to yourself." And again, that's because like attracts like. So if I want the world to be good to me, I need to know how to be good to myself, because they can only match, the world around me can only match whatever I'm flowing. So if I have habits of denying myself or putting myself on the back burner, making other people's desires and needs more important than my own, then I'm not lining myself up very well for receiving the good stuff that I've been wanting. I have to lead the way with proving myself worthy of receiving all that good stuff with how I think and feel and treat myself. Does that make sense? Did I say that very well?
Beautiful.
I was just going to say, well, it wasn't very articulate.
I think you rocked it. But this is a perfect example. These second thoughts or unconscious thoughts that come up. This is the moon. She comes up with these little bits of doubt and think, where did that fall short? Mm-hmm. So, good example. Because we all have this part of, regardless of where our moon is, we can all become more aware. And that's the key, just to become more aware of how we are feeling about ourselves and how we can boost those thoughts, to pivot those thoughts away from those dark thoughts and amplify the more positive, which astrology can help us do.
I was going to say, I think one way that we can boost those positive thoughts, too, of our own is when we think about what we want someone else to say, what we wish our sweetie would say to us, or our boss would say to us, or our clients, or whoever we would, whatever we want from someone else, we can practice giving that to ourselves. Because if I don't know how to speak kindly to myself, I can't expect someone else to do that, because they are reflecting.
You won't hear it. Even if
it's true. Even if they try,
it won't register.
A lot of relationships have had that issue where someone is trying to compliment the other party, but the other party cannot hear it because they are not in vibrational alignment to it.
Exactly.
And it can drive someone crazy because they're pouring love on another person, and that person can't receive it because they don't know the frequency of love. And it starts with us, guys. Each and every time it starts with us, and the world is just reflecting what we're flowing about ourselves. So this is an important one to get a handle on. And in the same way we can do it with what we would want someone else to say to us, to be able to say to ourselves, we can practice that in action as well. If I want someone else to be kind to me, I can check in. Am I being kind to myself in action? Like, I want my sweetie to do some nice things for me. Do I do nice things for myself? If I don't know how to do that, I don't know how I can expect him to, because he's only a mirror to what I'm flowing.
Well, Deepak Chopra says it takes 21 days to create a habit. And I don't, there's various ideas about that, but I do know that it takes repetition to create a habit. And practicing this and supporting each other can remind us to do something kind to us ourselves every day, to find some new way to show love. And it doesn't have to cost anything. It's not like I have to buy, even if I've got moon in Capricorn, it doesn't mean I have to buy myself something to show love.
Right.
There are other tangible ways that I can show it. So the really cool thing that we can do with astrology is to start by looking at the moon and get a feeling for what this primary need and desire is, and style or way that we give and receive love and nurturing. I have given you the glyph of the moon. That is the symbol that indicates the moon. And hopefully you will all now be looking at your charts and find that symbol in your chart and work out what sign and what house your moon is in. What sign your moon is in tells you something about what the moon recognizes as love and nurturing and how you want to give and receive this love and nurturing. Realize that whole books could be written on each one of these. I'm only giving you keywords to get you started. Okay, so Aries says, if you love me, take me on an adventure. Make it action, energy, and competition. Aries loves the challenge. If you say, catch me, or I'll bet you I'll get there first, you're going to really excite that Aries in you. Don't be afraid to make it a competition. Taurus says, if you love me, show me with touch and taste and sensation and indulgence and quite possibly sex. Just make it yummy and make it real. Gemini says, of course, if you love me, talk to me. Or teach me something, or show me where I can teach you, or show me what I can learn next. Cancer says, if you love me, share your feelings with me. And it's not just the good feelings. Cancer wants to feel the bad stuff, too, the dark and painful things. People with Cancer moon, they don't necessarily really trust you until you share something that hurt you in the past. I know that doesn't sound super LOA, but it's not to perpetuate the pain, but to share this sense of vulnerability. And there's something like there's power in that sharing of emotions, and it means you connect in ways that you never would if you don't share that deeper stuff. Leo says, if you love me, play with me, make it fun, make it creative. Definitely appreciate my playfulness and my creativity. Virgo says, if you love me, do things for me. They don't care so much about the words or the actions in terms of, let's get out and play Frisbee or go for a walk. It's like, do these little intricate detailed things like remember that music that I like, or that favorite meal, or that cup of tea that I love at that exact time of day. Show me that you know the details of who I am. Also declutter for me, or let me declutter you. And that can be emotionally or intellectually or physically. Libra says, if you love me, relate. Relate, relate, relate. Talk, share experiences. Let's do it together. Scorpio says, if you love me, merge your energy with me. And again, like the water sign of Cancer, the Scorpio says, I'm not afraid to take risk and go into the dark places. As a matter of fact, when we do that, we're getting real. And this is where the power is. Sagittarius says, if you love me, give me space, for starters. Let me be carefree, but let's go, again, like Aries, on an adventure. Let's explore. Let's be dynamic. Capricorn says, if you love me, buy me things. Be constructive. Show me the plan. And whatever we do, pull it together, make it real. Aquarius says, if you love me, surprise me. Respect my thoughts and space. Again, the Aquarius needs a lot of space. But there is that Uranian element of show me something original. Pisces says, if you love me, dissolve with me. Fall into the compassion and oneness of all life. Show me the dreams. Show me the mystery. Let's go behind the veil. Okay, so you get this feeling that the fire signs are all about action. The earth signs are about sensation. The air signs are about thoughts and communication, and the water signs are about feeling, whether those are joyful or painful, whatever the emotional scale is on that, or the sensation scale on the feelings. And that's your number one, is to identify those emotional needs and nurturing self-love needs of the moon. And then maybe take it a little further and ask yourself if you are giving it to yourself. Are you bringing this into your life and soliciting this from others by giving it first to yourself?
Could we have an example, Kim? Could we use Capricorn as an example?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Capricorn's a great example because let's say Capricorn moon was raised by a very air sign dominant family. And let's say that from that family they learned that what they received in terms of nurturing was a lot of talk, a lot of communication. They might have heard the words, I love you, a lot, every night before bed. I love you, darling. And they can end up feeling not loved, not nurtured, because the words don't matter to the moon. That's not what's important. What's important is the tangible expression. That means what does the mother show? How does she show her love? How do you show your love to yourself? Like, this is not the person who can do that self-love exercise where you look in the mirror and say, I love you. They need to look in the mirror and maybe give themselves a facial.
Right, or buy the nice lotion for the exercise in the morning.
Something, that they can smell and touch and feel nurtured by. Or they might put on, maybe they've got their favorite sweater that their auntie knitted for them, and it's actually amazing, and they wear it. And they can put it on and look in the mirror and feel this deep appreciation of, or maybe they made it for them, something they made for themselves, this deep appreciation for this gift. It's tangible, it's real, they can touch it. They might appreciate the plans they have to reach their goals and aims and objectives. That might sound very dry, but it's incredibly nurturing for Capricorn. You got to have a goal and a plan. That's love. That's love way more than saying I love you. I love you is just this abstract. It doesn't mean they don't love and can't say the words, but what's meaningful is going to be something a lot more tangible. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you for that.
We are often raised in ways that don't necessarily match our moon. We have learned maybe to ignore the true needs of the moon. Okay, so we've got the sign, and I want you to, your first homework is to explore the sign of your moon and what it really wants. Don't think about what your Mars wants or what Mercury gets off on and all that. Just look at the moon. Let's honor her for a start and get the basic need of nurturing. The house placement, and again, whole chapters written on the houses and their deeper meaning. So when I give you 3 or 4 key words, we're just scratching the surface, but it gives you a chance to get better idea. So if you've got moon in Libra in the 3rd house, then you want to, where you want to share is learning, and you want to share your ideas and thoughts and perspectives. If it's in the 5th house, then you want to have someone that you can play with and someone that you can maybe do a co-creative project with. If it's in the 7th house, it's going to be basically sharing a personal one-to-one commitment, whether that's a friendship or a business partnership or an intimate relationship. But 7th house requires the commitment to really generate what's needed there. Okay, so moon in the 6th house, it's the daily rituals and pets and magic and the work that we cherish in a daily way that becomes the nurturing and the comforting and the area that we can go to. For example, I rely on my moon in the 6th house as a comfort. When I'm stressed, automatically I start cleaning. Now, I know that sounds weird, like a really weird sense of self-love, and most people would think, she's doing the windows. That is not self-love. Well, for moon in the 6th house, it is, because I am engaging in a ritual kind of cleansing, decluttering. I might go pet the cat or groom the cat or do something, go up to the rooftop garden. I'm going to do something very 6th house, and that feels like love to me. And while I'm doing it, while I'm engaging in it, I am expiating whatever stress the stress is releasing, because I'm comforting myself and loving myself on a very core level. So where my Mercury and Sun in Gemini might think, if you're stressed, talk it out, write it down, write a response, deal with it in that way, that's something for later. My first go-to place is going to be my moon in whatever sign it's in the house it's in. So I want you all to identify the house that your moon is in and list out some ways that you may develop some self-nurturing based on your moon sign and house.
Wonderful. Well, thanks, everyone, for joining us today.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.